Sad, sad day for France. It's like waking up to 9/11, but this is for France. It's morning time here in Australia, and you can see that the Notre Dame Cathedral is on fire. I've been there at least a couple of times. You can see the spire actually falling right there. The roof is completely collapsed. And you can see these French Parisians just reacting. They're saying that our city's on fire. Paris is on fire, our country's collapsing, which I think is quite prophetic, the way that the people are responding. Let's just go to the scripture. We can always find comfort and wisdom in the scripture. At this time, it just reminds me of Mark chapter 13, when Jesus foretold the destruction of the temple. And as he came out of the temple, one of his disciples said, "Look, teacher, what wonderful stones and what wonderful buildings." And Jesus said to him, "Do you see these great buildings? There will not be left here one stone upon another that will not be thrown down." And you can see the subtitle there is actually Signs of the End of the Age. Let's go to Luke. That's Mark 13. Let's go to Luke. The Bible always has something to say about these things. Jesus weeps, and we do weep. It's a sad, sad day for Paris and for France and for all of Europe. In verse 43, "For the days will come upon you," Jesus said, "when your enemies will set up a barricade around you and surround you and hem you in on every side and tear you down to the ground, you and your children within you. And they will not leave one stone upon another in you because you did not know the time of your visitation." And historically, this is applying to Jerusalem, and the collapse of their country was symbolized by the collapse of the Jewish Second Temple. I got onto social media and I just posted some photos and some thoughts. I've been inside the Notre Dame at least twice, maybe about 30 years ago and then maybe about 10 years ago. Obviously a beautiful place. Lots of people go to visit it. It's the most visited tourist site in France. You can see there the spire's already gone. They were doing some renovation, and the question is, who did this? Some speculation about that. It's possible that it's just the work of the renovation gone wrong. It's possible that it's the yellow vest, or it's possible that it's a terrorist act. So I posted these thoughts. These are just my initial thoughts. Waking up to it, it's morning time in Australia. I said 850-year-old Notre Dame de Paris is on fire. Its spire and roof have completely collapsed. It's the most visited site in France, more than the Tour Eiffel, the Eiffel Tower, or the Museum of the Louvre. Napoleon was coronated in it. It was desecrated in the French Humanist Revolution of 1789. It's a tragic but fitting symbol of the collapse of tradition and the desecration of Christianity in France. The sure sign of the end of empires are its ruined walls, colosseums, theaters, places of worship. When the Hagia Sophia in Istanbul was desecrated and turned into a mosque, it was a sure sign that Christianity had been driven out of the Ottoman Empire, and Muslim spires were erected around the cathedral that stood as a symbol of Christianity for 916 years. So don't think that people around the world, especially in the Muslim world, would miss the symbolism. Recep Erdogan actually said only last month that the formerly Christian, Islamic, and then secular Hagia Sophia should be reconverted into a mosque. So right now the Hagia Sophia is a museum. It's considered a museum when you visit Istanbul. So we should be now watching how this priceless cathedral gets restored. Is somebody going to propose that, well, we're secular, we're humanists, we're atheist France now, and we should erect something that is a more fitting symbol for France? But in any case, it is a sad day sad day for France. Now let me just show you, referring to the Hagia Sophia, in case you missed the news. This happened only a few days ago. You type search for how Erdogan proposes to make the Hagia Sophia a mosque, and how this is obviously irritating to their Greek neighbor. If you click that Washington Post article, you get to this. Now I'm noticing this happening more and more on Google, where you're trying to find information, and in this case you can't blame Google, but the Washington Post, it says here, sorry, we can't find what you're looking for. Take a deep breath. Well, that's pretty big news, so you have to go to Middle Eastern news, and you will find Erdogan proposal to make Hagia Sophia a mosque irks Greece. The Greek government voiced opposition Monday to the suggestion from Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan that Istanbul's Hagia Sophia, a Byzantine-era cathedral that now serves as a museum, could be converted or reconverted into a mosque. And this is the departure from secularism that's going on right now in Turkey. And that's very important to Bible prophecy, because Turkey is going to rise up and try to create a united states of Islam, and they'll be butting heads with Iran. Iran wants to have that role. Turkey wants to have that role. And Daniel chapter 8 says that eventually they're going to have a big war. Anyway, the news today is France. So let me just end with France. Just have a look at these pictures. Pretty sad. If you've been to France, I lived in France for a year and been there several times, and pretty sad to see this. There's the moment the spire collapses. And if I turn it on, you can hear the citizens swearing in French and saying, we're burning, and we're collapsing. And that's what it's like in France right now, and maybe Western Europe is literally collapsing. Its foundations, its centuries of tradition, 850-year-old tradition, gone.